Welcome! This video is all about how to build doll lips using wool and felting needles. I hope you enjoy it and that it helps you add more facial features to your art dolls. First, I want to mention that in order to add such details like shaped lips to a doll's face, you must ensure the wool underneath is already felted and quite firm. Firm to the point where you can only make a gentle push with the tip of your index finger. If the wool is soft and you add details on top, you're going to have a hard time getting them firm enough that they will retain their shape. Worst of all, you will lose a lot of definition when you cover the face with fabric, and in a couple of years, the lips won't be noticeable. I have needle felted the heads with the nose and chin already, so you can better visualize where to place the lips. You must have a nice space between the nose and chin in order to do that. And I think it's easier to add lips once these two features have already been sculpted, especially if you're very new at needle felting. For this doll in particular, there's not much of a protruding profile, meaning the difference between the highest point, the nose, and the lowest point, the forehead, is not too great. It's important that you decide what are the proportions of the face, but also what sort of expression you want. So normally lips are at least as wide as the nose, and so your mouth line should be somewhere between the middle. You can put it a little bit lower, but regularly it would be between the nose and the chin, so halfway there. Then you will build the upper lip and the lower lip. So for a straight expression, quiet, she's neither smiling nor pouting, you would be as wide as the nose. For more of a smile, you go a little bit wider. You can go as wide as over here, but that's a very, very wide smile. So we're just going to do a little bit of a smile. We're just going to come out a little to the sides of the nose. First, a little below the middle, and that's almost as wide as the nose. Just going to make a little bit more, and now we're going to use a single felting needle gauge 36. It can be spiral needle, it can be an industrial needle, it can be a triangular needle, and we are going to sculpt that mouth line first. This helps you see how wide the mouth is, if you need to correct it to one side or the other. We just want to sculpt the mouth line at least 1/4 of an inch deep. You're poking really deep. My needle is going at least 1 inch into it. So the barbs are only making it 3/4 of an inch, but I'm going all the way in so that the fibers from the front of the face go straight into the head. In order to make your doll smile, you want to sculpt little lines that go up, right? But we're not there yet. We're just going to be sculpting this mouth line. See how much of my nail goes into it, right? Okay, there we go. That is the first step always to sculpt how wide you want the mouth line. You can start with different shapes. I'm doing a simple straight line, but you can do this, you can do up. It's just up to whatever shape you're really after. Because I work on the mouth line, this wool softens up a little bit. So I just want to firm it up a bit more. I'm not really sculpting it. I'm just firming up the area where I'm going to be attaching the lips. You just want to make sure that the lips are really centered below the nose and that the nose is really in the middle of that mouth line, okay? That you have the same distance to each side, and if not, this is where you can correct it. It's defining that this is recessed, right? So we've got to felt it down a bit more so that we can then add the lips to it. So you can see now that there's a discernible difference from the cheeks to this area. If we want it, we could just leave it like that, and I've left lots of dolls with just this type of sculpting. But we are going to add a bit of a more defined upper lip. You don't want to create lines here, okay? So it is very important that you're just firming up the whole thing. So now we are going to grab wool and roll it for the upper lip, and then we're going to do the lower lip. So when you are going to decide how much wool you want for the lips, it's only very minimal amounts of wool that you're going to be using. First, so that you can decide, first you roll a little bit on your finger and then see if you have enough wool or if it's too much or too little, right, for the lips you're trying to shape. So this is a soft egg. It has a lot of air. I'm going to be able to compress it quite a lot. But if I put it here and no matter how I adjust it, it's just too much wool. So then I can maybe take half of it, re-roll it a little bit, just so that I'm working with something that is just a little bit more firm, and place it over the face again. Now that looks a bit better for me. If I push on it, I can't touch the face, so I know I have enough wool. And it's also the exact width of the mouth. It doesn't extend and it's not too much, right? Then, using the same 36 needle, first you're going to try to secure it. You're not putting it to cover the mouth line, okay? You're putting it right above, see? The first thing you need to do is secure it. So you're going to go all around the perimeter of it with single and deep pokes. You don't want to do that over here, or you're going to create a very big dent. Okay, so it is somewhat in place. Obviously, that's way too big, and so we have to felt it. And you can do many sort of shapes, but we're just going to do a regular shape where our mouth is like this, right? And we've just added a chunk of wool over here. We're going to try to shape it into an orange slice, so something like this. Trying not to cover these big mouth corners that we have over here, right? And if you were to look at it, this is looking down on it, but it should also be looking up at it. So it should be the same view from both ends. We're going to sculpt it into this shape, and we're going to sculpt it as a little orange slice the other way as well. You always push it, shape it with your fingers, and start going after the shape you want. So I have a nice mount here, but I don't have a lot of definition this way. Now it's starting to get really firm. From the top, we can see it a little bit over the nose. From the side, we can see it almost at the same height as the nose, whereas before it was way too big. From the front, we know that it's there, from the angle and from above, right? It's really important that you move the head in all directions so that you can see how it is shaping. And you do want to have a space between the nose and the lips. Otherwise the fabric will float. When you place the fabric, it will float over here and there won't be much definition between the nose and the lips. So you want to create some space over here. You want to sculpt this angle line so that the fabric goes in it and it makes the doll look like she's smiling. And so we are there. And even if you were just to look at it like that, you know that this doll is smiling. It's a simple smile, but it's effective. Now the upper lip has kind of melted into the face, so if we look at it from the front, we can still see it, but now it's a little smaller than the height of the nose, right? The nose and this is a little bit smaller. So from the front, there we have it. From the bottom, this is a view. It's smaller than the nose. This is what it looked like from the top. So now we're going to add the lower lip. And like I mentioned, you can add a much smaller lip that sits within the size of the upper lip, like from here to here, or you can make it really wide, just like the upper lip. From my experience, it looks cuter if you add it within these corners like this. So it's a little smaller than the upper lip. So this would be half of this, right? You can also do like this, a really bumpy lower lip. It's up to you, but let's see what I get. Normally for a lower lip, I like to roll it on a needle. So I grab a little bit of wool. And then I'm going to roll it onto the tool, just so that I'm working with something firmer and I'm watching it so that it doesn't get bigger than the upper lip, okay? just about there. It looks half of the size of this one. It's a little bit wider, but that's okay because I have very soft wool here and I have very soft wool here, and that is going to help me attach it. So I'm not going to cover that mouth line. I'm going to give it a little bit of space. If it helps, you can pin it down so that you can needle felt it easier, okay? Like this. And so the first thing you're going to do is attach the soft sides of this roll so that it doesn't move on you as you needle felt it. And like I said, the wool at the size of the roll is really soft, so it goes in very easy. I'm being very forceful with it, and I'm needle felting it quite firm because I want this lip to be smaller. These mouth corners are angled right, which is why it looks like a smile. If you find that you've sculpted a lip too much or that it doesn't have enough width or size that you want, you can always add a little bit more wool on top. So you would either roll an extra little bit or add more soft layers on top and needle felt. I like to have a space between the lip and the chin, but some doll makers like it to be really small, really close together. So it's up to the style that you want to develop for your doll faces. What you can do after you've done the little mouth line is cut deeper lines around the lips if you want them to be really well defined. I like soft lips, so I'm going to leave the upper lip as it is, just give it a little bit more definition, just a little bit, not too much. And I'm going to do the same thing with the lower lip. If you feel like this lip is too small and that you're going to have to put a stitch over here, you can sculpt a really big line there so that when you do a stitch, it sinks in really deep. So you're always thinking ahead of what you're going to do once you cover it with the fabric. So that is it for my lips. They're very, very firm, they're very well put, and they're the right size. It is a soft smile, not a very big wide smile, but it's there and I like it. I hope this video gives you insight into a simple way to start sculpting doll lips. Sculpting dolls with wool is extremely fun, and it opens up a world of opportunity for you as a doll maker and as an artist. There is so much to learn, experiment, and create, and we will literally won't have enough hours in the day to spend needle felting. If you like this sort of videos, kindly let me know in the comments. And if you try this way of sculpting and it works for you, do let me know. It is very rewarding for me to know that my videos are helpful to you, that you enjoy reading my vlog articles and such, so please don't be shy and let me know. If you're new to my channel and would like to watch upcoming videos on doll making and the work coming out of my hands, please consider subscribing. And don't forget to let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.